What's up, Netrunners? Welcome to PeachHack. My name is Ben, and I'm joined once again by Randall. How you doing, Randall?
I'm all right. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing great. We're moving on to the losers finals of the Giga-bites Cafe Store Championship on January 24th, 2015 in Marietta, Georgia. This is the losers finals, so the loser of this game will be out. They'll get third place, and the winner is going to move on to the grand finals, where they'll have a chance at that regional bye. On the left, we have Kevin, who is running as Whizzard, who has 3 recurring credits he can use each turn.
I love you, Whizzard.
To trash assets. And on the right, we have Hollis, who is corping as Jinteki Replicating Perfection, where you have to make a run on a central server before running a remote. Very powerful corp these days. Has some great glacier abilities, but you're a fan of Whizzard, are you, Randall?
I am a fan of Whizzard, but I'm also a fan of this particular style of RP deck that Hollis is running. I'm not a big fan of RP overall, but I like that he's put some Grail Ice in here as the game progresses. You'll see that because RP really plays for the late game, and so the Grail Ice's ability to slow down the run at the beginning and make them get up a full rig before you can run anything is really powerful for this ID.
Yeah, having all those Grail Ice in the deck really do sort of force the runner to have some way to deal with those ice, with any type of ice, because sure, you may run into a measly Galahad, but then when they boost it with a Merlin, suddenly you're taking 2 net damage and you can't do anything about it. So it's a really great way for, oh my gosh, pulling a Nisei off the top by Kevin. Excuse me, talking about that Grail Ice. Hollis leaves his R&D open, and a Nisei is gone right away. 2 points for Kevin off the get-go.
And that's kind of the dangerous thing about playing this Grail deck is you kind of want to leave some ice in your hand, so it becomes a judgment call of how much do I really want to put down versus how much do I want to save for the surprise factor.
Wow. I mean, and of all the agendas that you don't want the runner to steal, it'd be Nisei. Nisei, of course, an agenda that really bolsters the corp's ability to keep runners out of those remotes, having that ability to end the run once they're scored. Ooh.
There we go.
And Kevin face plants into a Merlin, a code gate that deals damage, and
trashes the program.
And trashes the program. He doesn't have any programs out, so maybe that Lancelot was not a necessary reveal. But
well, I even say that anything that's not a necessary reveal of this is a poor reveal. I wouldn't want Kevin to know that I had that sitting in my hand.
Yeah. Deja Vu and the Deep Red going into the trash. Those are definitely things that Kevin is going to want to keep around. He is running Overmind with Deep Red, so Deep Red is going to keep those Overminds boosted up when they get installed. It's just a pup over HQ, though. Able to pay 2 to get through it. And this is something I love about Kevin. You just saw him look at his watch. He uses his watch, the second hand, to randomize his accesses, which is awesome. So he's an enhanced login protocol, which is not what you want to see early on in the game as the runner, because that's going to make those remote runs even more taxing.
I mean, Whizzard's probably not playing any currents that'll counteract that.
Sure. Just got to steal agendas, and then those will go away. But it's hard to do against RP. They do not like to install agendas to score them unless they are sure that they're able to score them. Hollis just elects to install up his eyes over HQ and take a couple credits. Could have some things in hand that he doesn't want to worry about. Oh, and I think that was a Galahad, not a Lancelot. My mistake before.
Oh, no, he had a Lancelot before.
Oh,
also.
it was a Lancelot?
Yeah,
I always
he has
get these
Galahad
girls
now.
confused.
Katie Jones and clicks for 3.
Yep.
I'm surprised people are still playing Katie Jones as much as they are.
You are? I think she's still a really good card.
I mean, she is, but because of the assassination card coming out.
Snatch and Grab, or
there we go.
Yeah, that's already out. A lot of people are playing Snatch and Grab. It's great, especially against professional contacts.
Yeah,
I think. Professional contacts is so hard to get out already at being at 5 credits.
That's a card I really haven't seen that much in the meta. At least not here.
Contacts?
Yeah.
I know Michael plays it in his Stealth Kate deck. I think that's the only one I can think about right now. Express Delivery coming out for Kevin. What is he going to dig for?
I keep thinking if I crane my head really hard to the left, I can see his hand. And I know it doesn't work.
Well, so a little bit of a slow start here, I think, for our Replicated Perfection player. And, you know, come to think of it, so one thing about Grail Ice that's nice as RP, you want to prevent the runner from being able to face check one of the remotes that has an end the run on it, and then just face check one of the centrals so that they can easily run a remote. And if you have Grail Ice on one of your centrals, then you don't know what they could reveal to be dangerous.
Yeah.
To make running those remotes even more dangerous.
As a runner, if a new player ever puts an in the run on the central servers, I just go, sweet, free run.
Yeah. I mean, if you have an Eli as your outermost ice, it's like, whatever, bonk against the end run, then run the remote. And we do have a Deja Vu. What is he going to Deja Vu? My guess would be Deep Red. Yes,
Yep.
There it is. He's going to install that for his last 2 credits. So his Overmind is going to be online. Armitage and Katie Jones out, so he's got plenty of means to recover his economy. And, otherwise somewhat slow going here for Hollis.
But I don't think RP minds that too much.
Sure. Now, RP is somewhat of a slow deck. Slow and steady. Just build up those ice over those centrals and then get your scoring server going. I'm sure what he wants to see soon here is a Sundew. He's only at 5 credits, so he's a bit in a rough spot in terms of being able to develop his board more.
I mean, that's a rough spot against Whizzard anyway, which is why I love playing him. I've kept RP players broke for turns on end just because any of those Sundews, any of those medical research facilities are all just sitting ducks.
Yeah. Do you see the enhanced login protocol? And Kevin is going to need to steal an agenda to get rid of that unless he has some currents lurking in his deck. Otherwise, he's going to have a hard time running remotes at all. And Hollis installs a upgrade in HQ.
No clue what that could possibly be.
No clue what it could possibly be, except that it's pretty likely, I'd say, that's a Caprice.
Yeah.
I know. What do you say? Caprice?
Caprice, Ash, depending on the day, but he's already used up all his influence on this Grail Ice, so it's got to be Caprice.
Yeah. Caprice, I think that's pretty safe. Interesting that he puts it on HQ instead of a remote server. But I guess he just wants to keep his hands safe for now. E3 now for Kevin, which is going to be important for that Overmind that's going to come out. And we get to see a look at Hollis' hand.
That's why I put it on HQ.
And we see a bunch of ice, and in turns, and a Future Perfect. Wants to keep that Future Perfect safe. Though Future Perfect is probably one of the best self-defending agendas in the game, right up there next to NAPD, I'd say.
Yeah.
So if there's an agenda to show the runner, it would be Future Perfect.
I mean, at that point, it becomes almost not worth running your hand. I know as a runner, I just get that feeling of, really, do I want to waste all this time knowing I'm going to have to win a side game against Caprice and then still win the side game against Future Perfect?
Yeah. The other thing that does, though, is it shows what Grail Ice he has in his hand. And he does install a piece of ice over R&D. So that Merlin might become a little bit less scary, as well as that Galahad. So I think all we're waiting for at this point for Kevin is Overmind in order for him to be able to start making useful runs.
Running amok.
Running amok. It'd be fun if Muck was a card. You got some Pokemon in here. Lots of money for Kevin now. Pops that Katie. Gives himself 28 credits. I'm pretty sure.
Give or take.
There's the Overmind. I think we're going to see some runs.
I'll start sweating bullets at this point.
Now, with that Deep Red, that gives him +3 MU. So he has a total of 7 -1 for Overmind, means 6 counters on that Overmind. Then Planned Assault, I think we're going to see a Maker's Eye here. And yeah, Hollis is looking at his R&D. So this is going to be a Maker's Eye Planned Assault. A very interesting splash into Whizzard. This is almost certainly part of his game plan, is because he did this in another game in this tournament.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I'm not going to say what game. And it is a Tsurugi. So it's only 2 strength. So spends 2 to boost Overmind, and then a counter and 3 to get through. And then revealing Lancelot and Galahad on the Merlin. Merlin is 4 strength, so we'll have to boost 4, pay, use a counter, and then 2 from E3. It's expensive to get through, but he does get through, sees 3 cards.
Was that a 19 credit server?
Trash's daily business show. And I think he just otherwise sees ice. Daily business show, man, that is a great include in RP, I think. Especially if you're having trouble with slowness, it's a lot more safe in those remotes.
And that is one of the things RP does have a downside on, is that early game is a little weak unless you can win some side games. So to speed that up at all is a great call on Hollis' part.
Yeah. And like you said, yeah, that is an extremely expensive server to get through with Overmind. One of its downsides is that it is 0 strength, meaning that it's as bad as Crypsis in the sense that you have to spend money to boost its strength every time. And looks like, yeah, Kevin is just starting the econ rebuilding. 2 pieces of ice in front of that remote with nothing in it yet. I'm sure Hollis is going to want to protect it pretty soon. Just installs for 2 and gains it back. But piece of ice over R&D.
And this is the point in an RP game where your heart starts to sink a little bit. You look across, see the 7 ice, 8 ice. You know you have to win some side games.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's only 1 ice over Archives. Who knows what that could be? A lot of people like to run Excalibur. This is a Grail suite, so maybe a fun thing to do is put Excalibur over Archives, tempt a runner into it, thinking, oh, they can get through it really easy. But then they don't have an AI breaker, and then they can't make another run on a remote. But Kevin does have Overmind.
Which that is one I'm kind of surprised I don't see more in RP.
Excalibur?
Yeah.
There's some debate back and forth whether or not it's worth it by some people. I like it. I think it's a fun include.
I put it into a Chrysium and off the grid deck the other day.
That's another great one.
To great effect.
Chrysium grid, off the grid. They tried to run on HQ to pop the off the grid, and then they run an Excalibur so that even if they do pop it, they can't make another run on it. It's a very fun card. It says you can't make another run. Of course, it's useless if it's 4th click, but then again, if it's 4th click, they're not going to make another run, and that's the whole point. So, unless it's Doppelganger, and it still shuts down Doppelganger. Another Armitage cone busting. We'll bring Kevin back in the money. And otherwise, there isn't much coming out from Hollis in terms of throwing cards down, defining the initiative. Oh, we
What if he just doesn't have agendas?
There's a Sundew. We got our first Sundew. RP does have agendas.
He has the one, but I mean, you know, any others in his hand, anything that he
yeah,
can
it's true.
install.
He might not just that Future Perfect just is probably hanging out there, unless the Future Perfect is in that remote. I kind of doubt it though. A Mimic, and it's going to make those Surugis a lot cheaper. Maybe Kamainu too. He does run Archives. Hopefully, it is going to be a cheap run. This does take 2 clicks. Hollis making sure that he can keep that other server safe if he reses. Res? No res? Oh, it's another Surugi. Which he can break through with Mimic now.
Such a great card. So many options.
So what he does, he only pays the net damage. He doesn't pay to end the run because he doesn't care if the run ends, and then he trashes that Sundew. It's true. If all you want to do is get a token run against RP, then just break the net damage. Don't break the paid and the run subroutine.
Yeah.
Nice move. Sundew is gone. You cannot let an RP player keep Sundews, or else things will just get out of control.
And the fact that Hollis is only sitting on 11 credits right now is still a pretty good testament to how well Kevin's doing right now.
Yeah.
Normally they're sitting up in the mid-20s at this point.
Hollis installs another piece of ice over that scoring server and gains 2 credits. Slow and steady, but the more turns he does nothing, the more Kevin is going to build himself up. Which side do you think has more power in the late game? Would a Corp be more powerful late game or a runner, you'd say?
You know, I'd say the runner is more powerful on principle, but in RP, they do kind of turn that upside down because you have to run twice as many ice, so all the basic math is off. But I think for any other corp, then yeah, the later the game goes, the more scared they get.
You let me have that sundew?
Hollis turns his back that Sunday and puts it in the scoring server, demanding that Kevin let him own it. And yeah, it's going to be pretty tough for Kevin to get in there, I think. I mean, he's got the Mimic, but everything else is going to have to use Overmind to get through. And will it be worth it just to trash the Sundew and get rid of all of his money in order to do that? I would force Hollis to res stuff. Hollis only has 12 credits. And Kevin does pop Katie. He's got a lot of money again. He could try another... okay, so he does run Archives, pays 3 to bounce off of Sarugi, and then he does run that remote. We see a Galahad again. And what are we showing at this point? Is that another Galahad? And a Lancelot. So it'll cost 1 to boost his strength, and then a counter and 2 credits to get through.
I don't know. If I was sitting in Kevin's spot, I would probably make a run on HQ before then, just because it's only 1 Overmind counter and $4 at this point.
Yep.
And as Whizzard, just the ability to trash what I assume is a Caprice sitting over there, that is probably the best deal you're going to get against RP.
Sure. And there was a Caprice over that Sundew, and the side game goes in favor of Hollis. So the Sundew lives.
Although now he's created this interesting situation where if that is a Caprice on HQ,
Indeed.
the Corp can't res it.
True. So Kevin could run HQ, and then Hollis would be forced to either trash the remote Caprice or just let the Caprice and HQ be trashed. It's a tricky part about running double Caprice is you have to decide where you want the Caprice to live.
I had a really interesting game the other day where I did the same thing with Jackson. I had 2 down, 1 resed, and 1 down. Somebody ran the face down card. I sacked the face up Jackson. They're like, I'm running here, right? I was like, I know. Give me a second.
I've done that too. You could res and double pop Jackson too, just to pop them both and bring back 6 cards if you need to. We see a run in R&D since the run on that remote turned out to be not super expensive. And he deja vu'd I think in Maker's Eye.
Yeah.
Is this Maker's Eye? Okay. Revealing 2 on Merlin, who's going to take care of with E3. The counting has been done, seeing 3 cards.
And Kevin playing the way you kind of have to play against RP, right? You have to almost just focus on the central servers and ignore the remotes because it just costs way too much in the long run.
Ooh, gets another Nisei. He kills a Caprice, kills Jackson Howard, and steals a Nisei. If that was not a productive Maker's Eye, I don't know what is.
And he knows what the winning agenda is, too.
It's true. There's a future perfect in hand. All he has to do is win a side game. Well, maybe 2 side games if he reses Caprice over HQ.
Oh, at this point, if he runs HQ, Hollis has to pop that Caprice because he knows good and well that that's game.
Looks like Hollis decides to just gain money on his turn. And it sounds like Kevin is just going to be building up again as well. So daily casts a solo sure gamble. Well, a better sure gamble. Gets you 5 instead of 4. Daily casts is a card that I've had mixed feelings on because it costs a lot to install, and it only gets you 1 more than the sure gamble. But it's still good. You can't include 6 sure gambles. And
in the collector deck.
Yeah. The supplier, yeah.
Supplier, sorry.
There you go. That's a good place. Hollis sacks that Sundew to install and advance something in that scoring server. What on earth could it be? It is probably an agenda. And probably a 2-pointer, either a Nisei or a NAPD. And Kevin is not in a financial position to be able to get it, I don't think.
You got to let that one go.
Sometimes you just got to let it go. But if that is a Nisei, that will significantly shift the momentum of this game. Now, stealing that Nisei from Kevin did kill the enhanced login protocol, which is nice. But if Hollis still steals this Nisei, or scores this Nisei, it'll still make a big difference.
Well, if he's focused on centrals, then that kind of diminishes Nisei a little bit.
True.
Because do you really want to pop your counter for what is essentially a random access that you have no clue whether or not the runner can do anything?
Yeah, typically you'll spend your Nisei counters to stop runs on those remotes. But if you're running on centrals, then you don't have time to stop it once they've already started accessing. 3 advancements and... Oh, it is the other Nisei. So he does have that counter. And, I mean, that's a great point. If a replicating perfection player has that Nisei out, it might be safest to start focusing on centrals, and especially R&D, to try to intercept any agendas that the RP player could be eventually getting. So what will Kevin do? Loads up Katie. And so he knows that, well, okay, there's one card in our cards that could be the Future Perfect. Kind of doubt it, though. Instead, he runs on HQ, hoping to pull that Future Perfect, perhaps.
Especially with Hollis not having a Jackson out. I don't think he's going to drop that.
Makes it through the pup and the Galahad. And no res on that central upgrade. That is the Caprice. It goes away. And then we have an access. Will he pull that Future Perfect? Which is presumably still there. Check the watch. Random access. Ooh. He does pull it. Side game. This could be it right here if he wins the side game.
Do you have a drum roll sound effect on here, Ben?
I don't.
I'm sure the viewers can just look at the timestamp left on the YouTube video and figure out.
Hollis asking for a minute here. Kevin was ready to reveal right away, but he's got to think about this. I mean, this is a huge side game.
You have to check his watch for this random.
What's the intensity of the side game that could win the game?
This is it right here.
No matter what we hold it up.
It was really funny watching this in person.
Hollis talking a lot of trash here.
Oh, he's freaking out. This could be it. Oh!
And it is.
And Kevin wins the side game 1-1, winning against Replicating Perfection.
And that big handshake there, that's why I love the Netrunner community. You don't see that in any other tournaments. It's great.
Hollis tries to end the run retroactively. But yeah, Hollis is a great player. I really enjoyed having him at this tournament. Shout out to the Huntsville community in general. They were here recording videos as well. And they released those on their YouTube video, the Huntsville Cyber Group. Randall, thank you once again for joining me in this game. We will be moving on to the grand finals pretty soon. But yeah, Randall, thank you very much for joining me.
No problem.
And we will see you guys next time.